started.
Okay.
Okay, welcome. I'm happy to have you here, Debbie. Can you present yourself for my listeners?
Yes, of course. My name is Debbie A. Fisher. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for the
Yeah?
invite. I'm
Yeah,
so
you're
happy to
welcome.
be here.
Yeah, you're so
Um,
welcome.
yeah, so who am I?
Hmm?
My name is Debbie A. Fisher. I'm an author, newly podcaster,
Yeah.
and a forever wife. Let's see what else. I do a lot of stuff. I have many titles. I'm your sister, your friend,
Yeah.
your whatever you need me to be. At the end of the day, if I could sum myself up in one word, it would be love.
That sounds really good.
When people encounter
Oh,
me, I
yeah.
want people to encounter love.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I would introduce myself.
That's like the best introduction I've had on this show so far. And yeah, it sounds really good. And I can tell that we'll talk about your podcast later, and I will tell my listeners how that what you just said about love, it really reflects a lot in what you do. So we'll get to that later. But I always have this question for all my guests. I ask them to describe themselves as a younger version, like when you were, let's say, maybe high school or before high school, maybe.
Okay.
Some memories that you remember of you, or a character you remember of yourself that you can trace back up to date and say that, yeah, I saw this earlier. That was me. Or if you have a good story to tell about yourself.
Yeah, so when I was younger, believe it or not, I was not the speaker, the talker I am today.
Really?
So when I was younger, I was very quiet, but I observed everyone. Like I learned my lessons from watching other people and learned what not to do and what to do.
Oh, that's really
so
smart.
When I think
you're like, let's go and do what you're doing, and I'll just be watching and learn my lesson from you.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up in a very large family. So I actually have 11 siblings. I have 7 sisters and 4 brothers. So believe me, I got a lot of life lessons just watching my siblings and watching other people. But one character trait that I can now trace back to where I am now and when I was younger was leadership. But it was always quiet leadership because I wasn't quite sure of myself at the time.
Wait, were you the oldest?
Huh?
You were the oldest of the siblings?
No, I'm number 11. Like there's one younger than me. So
not the oldest. Okay.
So all the other ones were older. But I always had a leadership quality. I was always the negotiator. Like whenever siblings were fighting, or my nieces and nephews who grew up with me and they're like siblings too, I was the negotiator. So I would like, okay, you want this. Okay, how can we figure this out? Or, well, she said that, but that's not really what happened. This is what really happened, you know?
I know exactly what you mean. There's always that one in the family who's always making sure that everyone is back in check.
Yes, and that was me. And also with my mom, who raised all of us. My dad was in the picture as well, definitely a financial provider, but she was the nurturer. So she made sure that we did all the things right. And another thing that she taught me was business. Like whenever she would handle business, she would always take me.
Oh, wow. That was really nice of your mom to just include you from the beginning.
Very nice. Although I was young and I didn't really know what it was all about. But now thinking back about it, like I'm so grateful she did. And when my older siblings have questions, who do they come to? Me.
Exactly. Like, I was paying attention when I was growing up. What were you doing? No, but that's actually really great. Because it's not really not all parents do that with the kids.
Right.
They have sometimes they're like, I'm taking care of things. Don't worry. I will just it will be fine. And to have that the thing that your mom did and include you and show you, that is actually it's a blessing.
Yeah, definitely. She was the first boss that I saw. Like she was a hustler. She was a boss. She was a woman of faith, like, but she made things happen. Like we never went lacking. And if we did, like, we didn't know it, like we were good.
Yeah. She didn't let you know. She was like, everything is fine.
Right.
Yeah, that's a hero. That's really a hero, I must say. So,
yeah.
So that's actually interesting. How you say, childhood. With that many siblings, I myself have 4 siblings, and I can tell you, I couldn't imagine myself with less siblings than 4, because it's like the dynamic, when you have like this rivalry, when you have the loud noises in the house.
Yes.
I like it. I love it. So,
and not only that, like we all have different personalities. There are 2 of us, there's no 2 that are alike. Like we all have different personalities, and for her to be able to juggle that and give each one what they needed, like totally amazing. Hats off to my mom.
I can imagine.
I didn't do that. I don't have 11 kids.
But that's actually true. Like you say, it's also different personalities in the house, and to keep all of them in check demands a lot of calmness and wisdom with that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So did you say that you're writing, or did I hear you wrong?
No, I am an author. I do.
You're
have
an author, right?
Yeah. I have a book called Chosen, out on Amazon, and that is called Chosen: The Woman, the Wife, the Warrior. And it's about my husband's transition. In 2017, he transitioned to heaven as a result of cancer. So he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma back in like 20 years ago, and then it returned. On our 14th wedding anniversary, we received a notification that his cancer had come back. And you know what we did? We went to the beach. We were in the doctor's office. It was our anniversary. We had plans. And we went to the beach.
That's really bold. That's really bold. And first of all,
the doctor wanted to start treatment right away. We were like, no, we're going to the beach. The beach is our spot. And so no matter what was going on, he fought for 3 years before he transitioned. Yeah. And we would always go to the beach. Like when hospice came to our house to put him into hospice care, he was sitting in the chair. They were spooked out. Wow. They were like, oh my gosh, well, maybe we shouldn't be here right now. And he's like, probably not, because we're going to the beach.
Wow. First of all, I'm sorry to hear that, because it's always hard to hear that. But then again, I want to know what was going on in your head when you said we're going to the beach after hearing such a news. What was it that made you decide or think like, you know what, we've heard what you said, but we want to do this instead of listening more of what you have to say about this, but let us just go outside and do us. What was that? Where did that come from?
So that really came from our faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. So strong, has kept us together through a lot of valleys that we had already gone through. So this to us was just another valley, and like immediately I knew God was going to take us through it. Wow. So we were like, okay, you told us his cancer returned. We're not going to cry about it, because the Lord has us. Yeah. And we went to the beach and we had the best time. Like, seriously. Wow.
That demands faith. And that's actually amazing to hear you talk about that, because it's you who went through that. And outside, for a person who's outside of the story can say, oh no, I'm sorry, that must have been the worst moment. But you're telling from your perspective and saying that we actually had a good time after that as well. And that's something. And I think people want to have that kind of take on life. You know that you're going to do your best, and you're gonna enjoy life the most you can, like get the most out of life.
Yes. Yeah. And so his transition was really the turning point for me. Okay. It was an honor and privilege to be his caretaker. Like, we spent every day together for the last 3 years while he was on this earth. Well, that's beautiful. And to be able to be with him at home, like it was the 2 of us, the way he wanted it. and he took his last breath. Like I was there with him. And
you were there.
Although most people will think it was tragic, which of course I miss him dearly, but it was the most beautiful thing to watch his spirit actually leave his body.
Wow.
And know where it was going. And there was just so much peace
in it
around the whole situation.
Wow.
And I was like, God gave me amazing peace in that situation. And when it happened, God spoke to me and said, it's not what it looks like. And so I didn't know what to make of it at the time, but I knew to trust the voice that I heard.
Yeah.
And so when I had to make the call to EMS, like, hey, my husband has transitioned. They were like, the police officer came, you know, the whole standard protocol.
Yeah.
And he said, who's here with you? And I'm like, no one. Like I was sitting downstairs drinking coffee.
Oh, wow. That's unbelievable. That's really, that's the main faith. And the peace, I mean, that's really something. The peace you had in that moment, that's only comes from God. That's only comes from God. Yeah.
Right.
It's impossible to have it on your own.
Yeah.
So
we talked about love earlier. And so I just want to share this part right here because I feel like I need to put this in here.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So even though his physical body left the earth, like his spirit is still with me. So now that I look back on it, when God said it's not what it looks like, his spirit is very present with me today. Wow. And that's the kind of love that I want like married couples to experience. Yeah. Our marriage was not perfect, but it was worth it. Like we were perfect for each other. Like if I could say he was the male version of myself, he was like my soulmate. And so
that's beautiful.
And so it's like most people talk about the loss, but it's really because of great love that you feel that. But it's not even a loss to me. It's just a different kind of love. It's on a deeper level. And so because we accomplished so much together, it's just like, if I could get married people to see what the end, like why this is important today because of what's going to happen later. Like we did certain things that we had no idea we were setting ourselves up for. You know, like being on the same page financially. So that when we got this news, we didn't have to work. We didn't have to worry about, you know, the finances, the medical bills, things like that. It was all part of God's plan for us. And so nothing is wasted in this process. These valley experiences that we go through, they're not to be wasted. Wow. And we have to share our story so that other people know that there's hope.
That's true. And I love what you just said there. Nothing is wasted. And that is really powerful and beautiful because your story, now when you're telling your story, I mean, I can feel it. I have goosebumps. It's like, I can feel the love, the energy and everything. I can feel it. I can really feel it through this computer. And it's true. It's not wasted as long as you are sharing. And you're telling people, you know what? There is another side to things. Because we are used to see, it's tragic and you're gonna cry your eyes out and nothing good is coming out of this. But there is this other side, what you're talking about, which is something you don't often hear people talk about, or you don't meet people who talk about this. And to hear this for me, and I think for my listeners as well, it is really a gift that you're giving us because, like you say, nothing is wasted. And I think this is how I interpret it is like I'm receiving it right now, and I can see another picture of how things might go, and this is just beautiful. I love it. I love what you're sharing. It's really,
thank you. Thank you.
And it's really powerful. And I can actually, I hope those who are listening will connect with this, and they will also feel this energy that you're just giving and this love that's just emanating from you. It's like, wow. Keep on sharing. That's good. Don't you ever be quiet about this. Whenever you have the opportunity, just share with people. That's gold.
Exactly. Yes, I agree. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you talked about a book before.
Mhm.
So can
Yeah.
you tell us about the book? What is it about, and how did you come to write a book, and the journey about that?
Yeah. So after my Valley experience, I wanted to write about it. I wanted to be able to put it in words. I wanted to be able to leave something behind, as part of my legacy. So I chose the title Chosen because I understood that while we were going through this process, like, with the chemo, with the radiation, with the blood transfusions, we were chosen for this particular battle, but we were not operating in our own strength. So I wanted to write a book from my perspective, the woman, the wife, the warrior, because there's so many pieces that went into that whole process. And although it was a challenging process, I like to change my language because that changes your life. I don't say grief, I say grace. So when we were chosen for this particular battle, it wasn't grief, it was God's grace. And I just got more of it because of this particular battle. And I had to become my own rescue. Like I went low, like I felt like something punched me in the stomach when this happened. Like,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But then I knew that there was greatness coming out of this.
Yeah.
Like I just knew. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I knew God was in control of it.
Yeah.
And so I wrote a book to kind of the book was my first book. So can I just tell you, like, it was like fact. But book number 2 is coming because there's more to this.
It's
there's
coming.
more to this.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there is a sequel to this. I love it already.
Yeah, so book 2 is coming, but Chosen, I chose that title. The book cover is what I actually wore for the funeral services. It was very special to me. I share a lot on social media as well about my journey.
Okay. Yeah, I think because I think I heard you talk a little bit about your husband on your podcast.
Yes.
So I knew a little bit, but it's another thing when I hear it. You telling me, it's like it's another level. I can just tell you because I can feel it in my body. It's like this joy just coming out to see you. This how do you say, radiant, and there's just love coming out of you, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot of energy. Yeah, and actually, it's really interesting to hear how your journey with how God have been with you on your journey, and like what I'm hearing, He has been a really big part of your process. How you processed all this thing, it was with God. He really helped you through this. Can you talk a little bit about that? Were you born a Christian, or did you find your faith in this period, or how was it?
So yes, I was always raised in the church. So I knew of God.
Yeah.
I didn't know him the way I know him now.
Okay.
So because of these valley experiences, like after my husband transitioned, I lost my mom 7 months later.
Oh no.
So can you talk about back to back?
That must have been really hard.
Yeah. Now with my mom, it was more expected only because she was my mom. So your parents are not going to live forever. Like, again, when I was a child, my mom took me to handle business. So I had already buried family members before, at a young age.
Yeah.
So I knew all about that whole process. But after my husband and then my mom, like 7 months later, and then my dog, the little furry baby, Madison,
no. Come
2 months after my mom.
Talk about back to back.
It was back to back to back.
Oh, wow, no. That must have been something.
Yes, it was challenging, but I knew that there was something good coming out of this.
Yeah.
And now, like sitting here today, I can give God thanks for all of it.
Yeah.
That's when you really mature in your faith, is when you can give God thanks for all of it.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, the ugly. All of it.
And I mean, I can also hear it in your voice. Like you have your peace, and it's true. It's not something. It's horrible to lose loved ones, but I see also how your faith have brought you this far, and I can feel how you have your peace. While talking about this, it's not like I don't hear any bitterness or anything like that. I only hear like peace, and you just trusting God that this is gonna help someone else. This is gonna help people out there, and that's the gift. I mean, I'm really happy to hear that you are sharing this, because I didn't know about your story, but now I know that okay, there is you can this can happen in your life. This much tragedy can happen, and still you can still make it, because before that happened, like for me, I have I still have everyone in my life, and I know that sometimes my parents, when they get older, it's gonna happen, but you don't want to think about those stuff. You don't want to. You always like, no, they will live forever, even though you know that's not true. But to hear someone who have been through that and to have come out this way with your faith, which I also know that, I can really trust God with this in the future. If anything like this ever happened, I know that I can always trust God to guide me, because I've seen it now. And that's the thing. When you see it and you see someone have done it, it's become more of a possibility and not just a myth. Like, okay, I've heard people can go through this and come out really good, but no, now I've heard about this from the source, someone who have been through it. So it's something else actually. I think this will stay with me forever. Even if when I'm older, I will still have this story to go back to and say, you know what, I have a proof. I have someone I've seen, I've heard someone. So this can happen. This is real. So I'm really thankful that you share that. And even if it's personal, but I'm really glad that you shared it with everyone here.
Yes.
And let's now talk about your podcast. So we actually went the same podcast program. That's how I met you.
Yes.
And I can say, first of all, just you tell us how you started, how this journey started, because now we've heard about your book and now we want to hear about your podcast. How did this start?
Yeah, so my podcast started 4 years after my husband's transition. I was walking from my kitchen to the bedroom and God said, start a podcast.
Okay.
He said it just like that. I recorded an actual video. I was like, okay, God just told me to start a podcast.
Wow.
So
just
what am I going to do? Start a podcast, because
you're like, okay,
to me.
If you said it, I'll do it.
Didn't know what a podcast was. I was like, okay, I guess I better start some research and figure out how to host a podcast.
Yeah.
So my podcast is called Designers of Destiny. And on that podcast, I truly believe our destiny is in our hands.
Yeah.
Like, it's really in our hands. And because of my faith, I don't need to know the whole story. Like, I don't need to know the 15 steps ahead. I just need to know what I can use in my hands right now that He has already given me.
That's really good.
To reach people for His glory.
Yeah.
So that is what my podcast is about. Now, in order to get to that space, it's called Designers of Destiny, because one, our destiny is in our hands and we get to design it. Like, whatever life we want, it's all for us. Like, it's already there. It's like we have to show up to get what we desire. We have to be that person that is worthy of all those things.
Wow.
So we have to remove some clutter stuff out of the way first before we can get there.
True.
So my podcast kind of goes from inspiration to being real. Like, let's talk about what is stopping us, mainly ourselves. It's here. It's all here in our head. We're on audio, so you can't see me pointing to my to my mind, but it's in our mind.
It's in our mind. Yeah, I can see you pointing. Yeah, but yeah, I found that to be something. It's everywhere. A lot of people have trouble believing that. Like the name of your podcast is. Can you repeat it again? So don't say.
Yes, Designers of Destiny.
Design of Destiny. That's it's in our hands, and a lot of people have really they struggle believing that they struggle really understanding that they have something to say into their lives, into their destiny, and for me it was. I can say I didn't think like this before. I didn't believe it 100% either before, and then I had to work on my belief, work on my way of seeing things, and now I can really agree with what you're saying. That it's really is in our hands, and we have a saying in our lives. We cannot just be spectators and from the side. You're like, oh, that's happened. Yeah, but what are you doing about it? I don't know. I'm just waiting. Waiting for what? I mean, yeah. So that was kind of what I thought to be normal. And then I started seeing, and I can say my faith helped me as well a lot, to really believe that when when God said that you can do this, He really means it. It's not just to write on a postcard or just a really good Instagram post. Like, I can do anything in His name. No, you know what? Actually, you can do anything. It's like go outside and find out what you like doing and do it. Not just say it and quote it because He really means it.
Right.
But I found a lot of people around me really struggling with that. And how did you find out that this is reality for you as well? Did you struggle with this thought of you can really have a saying in your life?
Well, I did struggle with that in the beginning, only because, like you said, my environment around me did not reflect that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so my husband and I, we were very much like in the same position in family, like his family and my family. So he was a smart one in his family. And so we just really believed. And we, like, when it came to debt, like we were like, okay, let's see if people really live debt free.
Yeah.
Like, can we really do it? Yeah. And so we buckled down and we became debt free all before anything ever happened. Like we sent our son to college.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to worry about anything. Now, 2 years in, he decided to become a Marine, but that's another story. So you know what we did with the extra money? We went vacationing. That's what we did.
Good for you guys. You deserved it.
But it's always been like, oh, let's see if this is possible.
Yeah.
And the verse says, with God, all things are possible.
That's true.
All things.
Yeah. And just that courage of saying, you know what? Let's try and see. Let's just see if it's possible. I don't know. Maybe it's not, but maybe it is. Let me try out. And that I think is really powerful, to just take that step and say, you know what? I'm gonna try it out. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna try it out. And I think that's what I think that's what I think your podcast is about. But I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're trying to show people as well that this is possible for everyone.
Yes.
And you really can do something about it.
Yes.
You don't need to stand on the side and watch your life just go by. And I
definitely want people to get in the game on their own life. Yeah. Because we have too many ways that we can just simply sit on the sidelines and watch everyone else do it. Well, that's good for them because blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, it can be you too if you choose to decide. Yeah, so it's really the mindset. It's the daily actions that we take, the daily decisions that we make that puts us in position to move forward. Like, you're not just going to wake up one day and it's going to appear.
No.
Unless you win the lottery. That's not going to happen.
That's not happening, no.
Even the word says faith without works is dead. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't want to be part of the Walking Dead. I want to be able to live while I'm alive.
Exactly. That's so true. It's not just gonna fall on your lap, you know? You're not just gonna wake up like, oh, out of a sudden I have a new car.
Right.
I don't know how it got here. Oh wow, no, that's not gonna happen.
No, that's not gonna happen. And I think so many people are afraid of failure. Failure is part of the process. Exactly. You're gonna fail.
Yeah, and
the thing is, get back up.
That's really good to say.
Keep getting back up.
It's really good to say it because that's true. People are really afraid of failing, but it is a part of the process.
Right. And it is part of the process.
And it's not something to be afraid of or something to be really scared of, because when it happens, you know one thing, I can always get back up, like you just said.
Yeah.
I can always do that. I actually have this there is this kids movie that I was watching with my cousin. It's called Sing. What there is Sing 1 and Sing 2, and there is this main character. He says, he's really broke. He has nothing left. I mean, he really broke. And then someone tells him, well, if you keep on trying, well, it's gonna be even worse. And then he says something that I really liked. He said, if I'm already down, the only way to go is up. So I can never fail. Or if I'm already if I'm on the bottom of everything, I cannot fail more than this. The only way is up. So I can only try, and I think I'll go up after this.
Right.
So I like that because it's actually true. Well, if you fall, you can only get back up. That's the only thing. You don't stay down. You go back up and you try again and you try again until something happens. And that's how it is. That's the only way to do things.
Yeah. And those are the power players in the game of life. The ones who fall down like, I'm okay with tripping because I know I'm going to get back up. So and guess what? I'm going to be one step closer because I tried. Like I'm no longer under the like, oh, what are people going to think? Who freaking cares? It's my life.
Exactly.
And I'm going to live it.
You should be living it, or instead of just sitting and waiting for something to happen. So that's so true. So can you tell us, is there something you've been enjoying so far on your journey of podcasting, because I can imagine people hear you talk about your experiences and your belief. Are there something that you've enjoyed the most on this journey?
Well, on this podcast journey, the thing that I enjoy the most is that I can truly share myself.
Yeah.
Like my podcast, when you hear it, is from my heart to yours.
Yeah.
Like it's not about what anybody looks like. It's my soul speaking to yours. Mm-hmm. And that has been so refreshing in this world that has so much noise going on.
Wow.
So one of the things that I do, I make sure that I'm in a calm space when I record podcasts. Mm-hmm. And I just love it. Podcasting for me is home. It's like I found my home.
Wow.
So that has been the best part on this journey so far.
Yeah.
Number 2, meeting awesome people like yourself.
Exactly. That's actually a bonus.
That's a bonus. And meeting people who understand their leadership role. Like we're stepping out of our comfort zone, a lot of us, and doing something that we have never done before.
That's so true.
A lot of our families, our friends have never seen. Like some people are like, what is a podcast? Okay, just click the link and listen. And then click the link next week and listen again.
You have to explain, like, you can just play and it will come.
Right. So that has been so refreshing. I use the word refreshing because when I think about it, like that's what it has been for me. So refreshing. And to be able to share and know, even though I may not get a comment, get a response, that there's a soul out there that connects with what I have to share.
Yeah.
And it gives them hope. So one of my sayings again is that I lead with love so that others can lead with hope.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
Yeah, and just reminding people that it's okay to breathe.
Yeah.
sometimes when we have so much going on, like we forget to breathe, like because we're always thinking like, what's next? What's going to happen next?
Always.
Just breathe. Just breathe.
Yeah.
And
that's really a good reminder, a really good reminder. Like you say, sometimes we forget to just pause a little bit and look up and take it in, and then keep on going. That is true. It's a good reminder. And I can say I was listening to your podcast. I can tell the listeners, I was listening to Debbie's podcast, and it was really, the word that I used to describe it to her was too soothing. It was like you're listening and you're like, oh, this is relaxing. And she has this background music and just get you in the mood first. The first thing you hear is like you're getting in the mood, and then you're speaking like really calm, and it's like, okay, we're not in a rush. I can actually enjoy, because I usually listen to podcasts on when I'm commuting to work, and I was like, oh, I sunk in my chair, and I was like, yeah, now let's go on a journey. Let's go on a journey. This is really good. So yeah, and I can say you could feel your calmness and your love also in the way you speak to your audience and the things you're sharing. And I believe that there are people out there listening and really feeling healed, even if I've noticed people are not always reaching out because I've been doing. I have now more than 10 episodes, and I know people are listening because I can see the charts. I mean, I can count the number of people listening. But even if they're not reaching out, I can tell you that when I was listening to your podcast, I felt something. So even if people don't reach out, I'm so sure that they're still feeling something from what you're sharing, because it really is touching, and you can feel the love coming out of what you're saying. And like I said, it was soothing because the way you speak, the way you put the mood on your podcast. So I strongly recommend people who are listening to go and check your podcast. I will put the link actually in the description. In the description for the episode, and I really strongly recommend that they go and listen, because it's really is a good podcast. And if you really want to have just relax and have some good time listening to some advice and some experience, it's a go-to.
Definitely.
So I really recommend it. And this is the last thing before we finish. Oh, it's already over. Oh no. But before we end, can you give, if there is someone out there wondering, like they're a little bit scared of, the hesitant of stepping out and doing the thing that they know they would love to do, what advice would you leave them with? What are the things that you could say to them, like,
so if there's something that you have been, that just keeps coming to mind, like, in your heart and your soul, that this is something you should be doing. Number one, breathe. You have to breathe yourself out of fear into action, because overthinking, this is how I get myself out of overthinking. I take action. And it's in the action that the miracles happen. Like, I'm no different than any other person, but I said yes to myself. And every day I say yes to myself. Every day that I'm given another chance to breathe on this earth, I say yes to myself.
Wow.
And what does saying yes to yourself look like? It's those little things that you do on a daily basis that makes you a better person. Wow. You're the best investment you will ever make.
So true. So true.
So being able to say yes to yourself in those little things, you can then begin to say yes to yourself and the bigger things.
Oh, wow.
And if it keeps tugging at your heart, you probably need to do it.
Yeah.
And while I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, I wish I could tell you had a lot of time.
Yeah.
But honestly, we don't know. So why not live? Take all of that excitement that you have and push it forward. What's the worst thing that can happen? Exactly. You're only going to get smarter in the process because you're trying something new.
Yeah.
So that part of it like really excites me. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
That's great advice. And I think even for me, that I'm going to use that as well, because it's so good what you just shared there. And that we always get in our own way.
Yeah.
We are the one who always blocking ourselves from doing things. And I like what you said, before you talk yourself out of something, you start doing, you take some actions.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way.
Action.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, you know what? I'm gonna do it and then see what happens first.
Yeah.
And then, I'll see what happened later after doing it. So that's actually a good way to just stop talking yourself out of things.
Yeah.
Because after doing it, then you'll see, okay, what works and what doesn't. And then you'll be able to work with something already.
Right.
Instead of just sitting there and you go like, so many things can go wrong. So many things can go wrong. And then
you can overthink yourself, and 5 years later, what are you doing? You're still thinking.
Exactly.
Well, you could have taken action and put yourself and your family and your friends in a much better position. So why not? Like, your life is so much bigger than just you. Like, when you're overthinking, you're thinking about yourself.
Oh, that's really
Let's
good.
just be honest.
That's
you're
really
thinking
good.
About yourself, and your life is so much bigger than that. So can the big you please show up?
Yeah, that's really good. That's part. Yeah, actually, it's get out of the way and just get out of the way and just let it happen. Like, wow. Oh, I'm so thankful.
And being open and allowing things to flow. Like, that's the thing. Like, people are so tense and uptight. Like, drop your shoulders, because we carry a lot of stress in our shoulders. Drop your shoulders
and breathe. Yeah, I think that's one is gonna be the thing I remember the most out of this episode. Breathe. Just breathe. That's a good one. Actually, I'm gonna remember this, I think, a long time.
Yes.
Remember to breathe. That's really important. So to all the listeners, remember to breathe wherever you are out there. Take a moment, look up, breathe. And with that said, I really want to thank you for being on the episode. This has been one of the best episodes I've had on my show.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I really am thankful you were able to join us. And I think the listeners are gonna appreciate it a lot as well.
I hope so. That's my heart. That's my heart.
Yeah. So I will put the link to her podcast in the notes. And you have also the book. What's the name of the book again?
Yes, the book is called Chosen, the Wife, the Woman, the Warrior.
Okay. Good.
And you can find that on Amazon.
On Amazon. Yeah, good. And I think I will even look for it, and I will put the link as well. So people can easily, people like facility and they don't want to struggle. So I will put the link so they don't need to go and search. So thank you so much for the episode, and I really enjoyed talking to you. Until next time, I think we'll be maybe chatting some other time, and maybe in another episode in the future. So thank you so much, and good luck with the next book.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here with you and your listeners, and be on the lookout. There's more to come.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.